Hello everyone, I'm Shan. In this video, I'm going to explain about a clean energy source known as solar energy. In this video, I will explain how solar panels work and how they were made up of. I hope you will enjoy this video.
Have you wondered how solar panels generate electricity? Well, it is more complicated than you think. The word solar comes from the Latin word sol, which means sun. A panel is a rectangular or square plate. So a panel that captures energy from the sun is called a solar panel. Another reason is that these panels are made out of smaller units called solar cells.
The most common solar cells are made from silicon, a semiconductor that is the second most abundant element on Earth. In a solar cell, crystalline silicon is sandwiched between conductive layers. Each silicon atom is connected to its neighbors by 4 strong bonds, which keeps the electron in place so no current can flow. Here's the key. A silicon solar cell uses 2 different layers of silicon. An N-type silicon has extra electrons, and P-type silicon has extra spaces for electrons called holes. Where the 2 types of silicon meet, electrons can wander across the p-n junction, leaving a positive charge on one side and creating negative charge on the other. You can think of light as the flow of tiny particles called photons, shooting out from the sun. When one of these photons strikes the silicon cell with enough energy, it can knock an electron from its bond, leaving a hole. The negatively charged electron and location of the positively charged hole are now free to move around. But because of the electric field at the p-n junction, they will only go one way. The electron is drawn to the n side, while the hole is drawn to the p side. The mobile electrons are collected by thin metal fingers at the top of the cell. From there, they flow through an external circuit, doing electrical work like powering a light bulb, before returning through the conductive aluminum sheet on the back. Each silicon cell only puts out half a volt, but you can string them together in modules to get more power. 12 photovoltaic cells are enough to charge a cell phone, while it takes many modules to power an entire house. Electrons are the only moving parts in a solar cell, and they all go back where they came from. There's nothing to get worn out or used up, so solar cells can last for decades. You have probably seen solar cells on your calculator, your rechargeable light bulb. We have them on houses and even vast solar arrays in fields. An array is just multiple strings of solar modules connected together. A string is just multiple solar modules connected together, and the solar module is just multiple solar cells connected together. To make a basic solar cell, we start with a metal conductive plate. This forms the positive electrode. On top of this, we find a thin silicon layer. This is our semiconductor material. Typically, this consists of a layer of silicon-boron mixture on the bottom and a layer of silicon surface on top. The joint between them is known as p-n junction. On top of the silicon, we have an anti-reflective coating. A metal grid is then placed over this, which is our negative electrode. The thin strips are known as fingers, and the thicker strip is known as the bus bar. We typically have a glass protective layer over this because solar cells are very thin and they will easily break, so we need to protect them. This tiny cell has a bus bar at the very edge. This went through the middle, and these large ones have multiple bus bars through the middle. They all have fingers reaching out across the silicon to collect the free electrons. These electrons will flow along the fingers and collect and flow together in the bus bars. We need as much light as possible to enter the silicon, so metal conductors need to be as thin as possible. More fingers make it easier to collect more electrons, but it also blocks light. The silicon material is shiny, which means light is reflected away, so the anti-reflection coating helps reduce this. but some will always be reflective. We also find cells with the rough surface. This helps capture some of the reflected light and direct it back to solar cells. Each of these cells generates just 0.5 volts, but the larger the cell, the more current it could generate. To make a solar module, we have a solid back sheet with a layer of EVA adhesive over this. Then the solar cells are stuck to this and connected together. Another layer of EVA film sits on top of this, then a layer of glass, and finally the frame is fixed. On the back, we have the electrical connection which connects to the cell. The EVA encapsulates the solar cells, insulating them from moisture and mechanical stresses, which will degrade the material over time. Looking at the solar modules, the top of one cell is connected to the bottom of the next cell, and this increases the voltage. Looking inside this unit, we have two cells, both producing 0.5 volts. If we look closely, we see the cells overlap and join to form a series connection. The ends pass through the back, where we find the electrical terminals. Small modules use 36 cells, which produces around 18 to 19.8 volts, perfect for charging a 12-volt battery because we need more voltage than the battery to charge it. So we often find these used for off-grid systems. But most residential installations are grid connected and they use 60 or 72 cell modules. Commercial installations typically use 60, 72, or 96 cell modules. Some can be even larger. Also, there are two major types of solar, monocrystalline and polycrystalline. Polycrystalline solar panels have blue cells made of multiple silicon crystal, and they are less efficient but more affordable. Monocrystalline panels have black cells made of single crystals, and they offer a higher efficiency at a higher price.
What's stopping us from being completely reliant on solar power? The major problem with solar energy is its inconsistency due to its independence on sunlight, meaning it cannot generate electricity at night or during cloudy weather. This makes it difficult to rely on as sole energy source without efficient energy storage solutions. Solar energy has some challenges. The upfront cost of installing solar panels is high, and they depend on sunlight, meaning they don't work well on cloudy days or at night. They are also not very efficient, as most panels convert only a small amount of sunlight into electricity. Making and recycling solar panels can harm the environment, and materials of solar energy are not renewable. Storing energy in batteries is still expensive. Large solar farms can take up land and affect wildlife, and adding solar power to existing electricity grid can sometimes cause problems like inverter and battery problems. However, the benefits of solar energy are much greater. It's a renewable and clean energy source that doesn't pollute the air or produce greenhouse gases. Once installed, solar panels are cheap to maintain and can last for decades. Solar power can lower electricity bills, create jobs, and provide energy in areas without access to power grids. With technology improving every year, solar panels are becoming more efficient and affordable. In summary, while there are challenges, solar panel is an excellent choice for the future. It's a clean, sustainable solution to reduce pollution and fight climate change. For countries like Myanmar, solar energy can help solve electricity shortages and reduce dependence on fossil fuels, making it a powerful tool for building a better future. However, for large countries like the United States, nuclear energy is a lot better because those countries use a lot of energy and they have hard time using renewable energy sources.